Fired for saving a homeless 6-year-old street girl from danger. She had no idea the child's ruthless billionaire father was the same man who abandoned her at birth. You're telling me she's alive? Our daughter is alive. Sophia's voice shattered the silence of her small apartment as she stared at the man she'd once loved, the man who had destroyed her with a single lie 7 years ago. Yes. Matthias Wolf's voice wavered, his composed billionaire facade crumbling as he looked at the little girl sleeping on Sophia's couch, the homeless child Sophia had just been fired for rescuing. Luna is our daughter. The daughter I told you had died at birth. You let me grieve for 7 years while our baby was out there alone. Tears streamed down Sophia's face as realization dawned. I lost everything, my health, my future, nearly my sanity, mourning a child who wasn't even dead. I thought I was protecting both of you, Matthias whispered, his gray eyes haunted. I never imagined she'd end up homeless, running from me, terrified of her own father. Before Sophia could respond, Luna stirred on the couch, her amber eyes, so like her father's, blinking open in confusion as she looked between the two adults. Why are you crying? She asked Sophia softly. Is it because of me? The rain hammered against the windows of the Riverside Community Center as Sophia Moreno watched the little girl huddle deeper into the doorway across the street. For 3 days now, the child had appeared at the same spot, always alone, always watching the center with those haunting amber eyes that seemed far too old for her small face. Something about her pulled at Sophia's heart, a connection she couldn't explain but couldn't ignore. You can't save them all, Derek, the security guard, said from behind her. His voice was gentle but firm, the voice of someone who had seen too many heartbreaking stories. Child Services has been called twice. She runs before they arrive. Sophia's fingers pressed against the cold window, her dark eyes never leaving the small figure across the street. She's hungry, she said, already reaching for her coat. The least I can do is offer her some food. Center policy says. I know what the policy says. Sophia's voice carried an edge of determination that had gotten her into trouble before. Her colleagues called it stubborn, she called it necessary. But I also know what it's like to be alone and afraid. The October wind cut through her jacket as she crossed the street, moving slowly to avoid startling the child. The girl watched her approach with wary intelligence, ready to bolt at the first sign of threat. Her matted dark hair hung in damp strands around a face that was too thin, too cautious for someone so young. Hi there, Sophia said softly, stopping a few feet away. My name is Sophia. I work at the center across the street. Are you hungry? The girl's eyes darted between Sophia's face and the sandwich she pulled from her bag. Pride warred with hunger in her small features before hunger won. She reached for the food with dirty fingers, tearing into it with a desperation that broke Sophia's heart. What's your name? Sophia asked, crouching to the child's level. The girl swallowed hard before answering. Luna. Luna. The name sent an unexpected shiver through Sophia. That's a beautiful name. Where are your parents, Luna? Don't have any. The words were matter of fact, delivered with the casual indifference of a child who'd learned not to expect much from adults. Never did. Everyone has parents somewhere, Sophia said gently, fighting the urge to touch the girl's shoulder, to offer comfort that might be rejected. Luna shrugged, focused on the sandwich. The lady who watched me died. Said my papa didn't want me and my mama was gone. So now it's just me. Before Sophia could respond, the screech of tires shattered the moment. A black SUV careened around a corner, heading straight for their doorway, the driver clearly having lost control on the rain-slicked street. Without thinking, Sophia grabbed Luna, pulling her hard against her chest as she dove sideways. They hit the pavement rolling, Sophia's body cushioning the child's fall as the SUV slammed into the building where they'd been standing seconds before. Pain shot through Sophia's shoulder, but adrenaline pushed it aside as she quickly ran her hands over Luna's small form. Are you hurt? She gasped, checking for injuries. Luna stared at her with wide eyes, seemingly more shocked by the protective embrace than the near miss with death. "You saved me," she whispered, wonder in her voice. "Of course I did." Sophia pulled her closer, her heart pounding with more than adrenaline. The feeling of this child in her arms, it was like finding a piece of herself she didn't know was missing. If you're finding this story touching, please consider subscribing to our channel. These stories of human connection and unexpected bonds are what we're all about, and your support helps us share more powerful moments like these. Sophia. Derek came running, followed by several staff members from the center. "What the hell were you thinking?" "Call 911, she said, still holding Luna tightly. "The driver might be hurt." People rushed to help the driver, who seemed shaken but uninjured. The man stumbled from the SUV, apologizing profusely about the wet roads and faulty brakes. But as the crowd gathered, Sophia became aware of another presence. A man in an expensive suit had emerged from a second black SUV that had pulled up behind the accident. His face went pale as he surveyed the scene. When his gaze landed on Luna in Sophia's arms, something flickered across his features: recognition, fear, and something else Sophia couldn't identify. "Luna," he said, his voice carrying despite the chaos. "Luna, sweetheart." The little girl stiffened in Sophia's arms. "I don't know you," she said, her voice suddenly small, her body trembling. He hesitated, his gray eyes meeting Sophia's for the first time, and the world tilted on its axis. Matthias Wolf. 7 years older, wearing success like armor, but unmistakably him. The man who'd walked out of her hospital room after telling her their baby had died. The man who'd left her with nothing but a note saying he couldn't handle the grief. "You," Sophia breathed, her arms tightening protectively around Luna. His face went from pale to ashen. "Sophia. I didn't. I had no idea you worked here. You know each other?" Luna asked, looking between them with those two perceptive eyes. Before either could answer, Miranda Hartley, the center's director, arrived on the scene. Her perfectly coiffed hair remained unruffled despite the rain, her expression severe as she took in the situation. "Sophia, what's going on here?" Miranda's voice was tight with controlled anger. "You know our policy about unsupervised interaction with homeless minors." "She saved the kid's life," Derek interjected, pointing to the damaged doorway. "SUV would have crushed her." "That may be, but protocols exist for a reason." Miranda's expression was stern as she turned to Matthias with a completely different demeanor. "And Mr. Wolf, I wasn't expecting you until tomorrow for the donation review." "Donation review?" "Of course. The Wolf Foundation was one of their biggest supporters." Sophia felt sick as the pieces clicked into place. "The child needs medical attention," Matthias said, his voice taking on the commanding tone she remembered from their past. "I'll take responsibility for her care." "You?" Sophia stood, lifting Luna with her despite the pain in her shoulder. "You don't even know her." His jaw tightened. "I know more than you think." "Sophia, release the child to Mr. Wolf," Miranda ordered. "He's obviously concerned, and as our most generous benefactor, his interest in the welfare of." "No." Sophia's voice cut through the rain. "Not until someone explains why a homeless 6-year-old seems terrified of a billionaire who supposedly doesn't know her." Luna buried her face in Sophia's neck. "Please don't make me go," she whispered, her breath warm against Sophia's skin. "The angry lady said if he found me, bad things would happen." "What angry lady?" Matthias stepped forward, genuine concern breaking through his controlled facade. "Luna, what angry lady?" "The one who came after Mrs. Chin died. She said my papa would come, but I should run. Said he was dangerous." Luna's voice trembled. "Said he threw me away when I was a baby." Sophia felt her blood run cold. Thrown away as a baby. The timing. The eyes. The unexplainable connection she'd felt. It couldn't be. Sophia, this is becoming absurd, Miranda said coldly. Hand the child over to proper authorities or Mr. Wolf. She's coming with me, Sophia said, the decision crystallizing in her mind. If you want to discuss this further, Mr. Wolf, you can do it somewhere safe and warm, not in the middle of a crime scene. Sophia, if you leave with that child, you're fired, Miranda threatened, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. And I'll make sure you never work at another community center in this city. Sophia looked at Luna, then at Matthias, whose face showed a complex mix of emotions she couldn't begin to untangle. Then I guess I'm fired. She turned and walked away, Luna still in her arms, very aware of Matthias following behind them. The drive to Sophia's apartment was tense with silence. Luna sat in the back seat, wrapped in Sophia's jacket, watching Matthias's car follow them with suspicious eyes. Is he really going to come to your house? Luna asked quietly. Yes, Sophia said, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. But I won't let anyone hurt you, okay? I promise. That's what Mrs. Chen said too, Luna replied, her voice small. But then she died. Sophia's heart squeezed painfully. I'm so sorry that happened. Were the Chens your foster parents? They adopted me. Said they chose me special. Luna's face crumpled slightly. But then they crashed their car and died. The angry lady came after that. What was this lady's name, Luna? Mrs. Westfield. She worked for my parents. She said she knew things about my real father that nobody else knew. Luna leaned forward slightly. Is he really my father? The man in the nice suit. Sophia's hands shook as she parked outside her apartment building. I don't know yet. But we're going to figure it out. Her apartment was small but warm, a stark contrast to the chaos they'd left behind. Luna sat wrapped in a fuzzy blanket, sipping hot chocolate while eyeing Matthias with deep suspicion. He stood by the window, his reflection showing the turmoil Sophia remembered from 7 years ago, the night everything fell apart. You should eat something, Sophia said to Luna, placing a plate of toast beside her. When did you last have a proper meal? Luna shrugged. The shelter had food 2 days ago, but there were scary people there. You've been on the streets for how long? Matthias asked quietly. 6 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days, Luna replied precisely. Since Mrs. Chen died. Matthias and Sophia exchanged a look over Luna's head. Sophia saw her own pain reflected in his eyes, but she couldn't afford to care about his feelings. Not now. Not after everything. Luna needs a bath and some rest, Sophia said firmly. Whatever conversation we need to have can wait until she's asleep. Luna's eyes widened in alarm. I don't want to sleep. You'll talk about me and decide things. We won't decide anything without you, Sophia promised. But you're safe here, and you need to rest. It took nearly an hour to coax Luna into accepting a bath, and another hour before the exhausted child finally drifted off on the couch, her small hand clutching Sophia's as she fell asleep. Start talking, Sophia said once Luna's breathing had evened out. And don't you dare lie to me. Not again. Matthias turned to face her, and for a moment, she saw the man she'd once loved, vulnerable, scared, human. She's ours, Sophia. Luna is our daughter. The words hit like physical blows, even though part of her had known the moment she'd held Luna. The eyes, the stubborn set of her chin, even the way she tilted her head when thinking, all echoes of the baby Sophia had glimpsed before being told she'd died. You told me she was dead. Her voice was deadly quiet. You stood in my hospital room and told me our baby didn't survive. I know what I did. His voice was raw. It was unforgivable. Then why? The question erupted from her. Why would you do something so cruel? Because I was 24 and terrified, he said, his voice breaking. Because your father threatened to destroy my company if I didn't disappear from your life. Because my mother convinced me you'd be better off believing she was gone than knowing I'd given her away. Given her away? Sophia's legs gave out, and she sank into a chair. To whom? The Chens. They couldn't have children. I knew them through business connections. They promised to love her, to give her everything. His voice broke. I thought I was doing the right thing. You were so young, still in college. Your father made it clear that if you kept the baby, you'd be cut off completely. No support, no education, nothing. That wasn't your choice to make. Sophia's voice rose before she caught herself, glancing at Luna. I know. He moved closer, then stopped when she flinched. I've regretted it every day since. When the Chens died in that accident 2 years ago, I tried to find Luna, but she disappeared into the foster system. Then someone from their household staff, this Westfield woman, apparently told her I was dangerous, that I'd abandoned her. She's been running from me ever since. Sophia looked at the sleeping child, their daughter, and felt 7 years of grief transform into white-hot rage. She's been living on the streets. Our baby has been homeless and alone because of your lies. I've been searching for months, Matthias said desperately. Every resource, every connection. When I saw her today, in your arms. He stopped, composing himself. It was like the universe was either punishing me or giving me a chance at redemption. This isn't about your redemption. Sophia stood, moving to adjust the blanket around Luna. It's about a little girl who deserves better than either of us gave her. What do you mean? I mean I mourned her. I grieved so deeply I couldn't even look at children for years. I threw myself into helping other people's kids because I couldn't have my own. She turned to face him. We both failed her in different ways. Matthias watched her tend to Luna with gentle hands. You saved her today. Without hesitation, without even knowing who she was, you protected her. Any decent person would have. No. His voice was firm. I saw it happen. The way you moved, the way you held her, it was pure instinct. Pure love. Even not knowing she was yours, you loved her. Sophia's eyes filled with tears she'd been holding back for 7 years. I think part of me recognized her. The moment I saw her 3 days ago, I couldn't stay away. It was like gravity. What do we do now? Matthias asked, the question hanging heavy between them. Before Sophia could answer, Luna stirred, her amber eyes opening with the disorientation of a child who'd learned to wake quickly, ready to run. It's okay, Sophia soothed, sitting beside her. You're safe. Luna looked between them, that sharp intelligence assessing the situation. You were crying. Happy tears, Sophia lied gently. He's still here. Luna pointed at Matthias with accusation. Luna, Matthias said carefully, what exactly did Mrs. Westfield tell you about me? The little girl pulled the blanket tighter. She said you threw me away when I was a baby. Said you didn't want a daughter who might be broken like me. Broken? Sophia's voice sharpened. Luna, sweetheart, you're not broken. My brain doesn't work right sometimes. The Chens took me to doctors. They said I'm different. She pronounced the word like a curse. Matthias knelt in front of the couch, his voice gentle. Different isn't broken, Luna. It's special. And I didn't throw you away because of how your brain works. He looked at Sophia, silently asking permission to continue. She nodded slightly, recognizing that truth, however painful, was better than more lies. I made a terrible mistake, he continued. When you were born, I was scared and stupid. I thought other people could take better care of you than I could. But I was wrong. And I've been looking for you ever since the Chens. He paused, choosing his words carefully, since they couldn't take care of you anymore. Luna studied him with eyes that looked so much like his own. Did you know my mama? The question hung in the air like a held breath. Sophia moved closer, her heart pounding. Yes, Matthias said softly. I knew her very well. Is she really gone? Mrs. Chen said she went to heaven when I was born. Sophia couldn't stand it anymore. She sat down beside Luna, taking those small hands in hers. Luna, sweetheart, I need to tell you something. Something true. The little girl looked up at her with such trust it nearly broke Sophia's resolve. I'm your mama, she whispered. I've been looking for you too, in my own way, for 7 years. Luna's eyes went impossibly wide. She looked between Sophia and Matthias, her brilliant little mind making connections. You're both my parents. My real ones. Yes, they said in unison. But why did you leave me? The question was directed at both of them, pain evident in every word. I didn't leave you by choice, Sophia said, tears flowing freely now. I was told you died when you were born. I believed that lie for 7 years. And I'm the one who told that lie, Matthias added, his voice heavy with shame. Because I thought it would be easier for everyone. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. Luna processed this information with the solemnity of a child who'd learned early that adults were complicated and often disappointing. So you, she pointed at Matthias, lied to her, pointing at Sophia, and gave me away. And you, back to Sophia, thought I was dead so you couldn't look for me. Yes, Sophia said simply. That's exactly what happened. That's really messed up, Luna declared, causing both adults to blink in surprise. Language, Sophia corrected automatically, then almost laughed at the absurdity of correcting the language of a child she'd just met who was actually her daughter. Mrs. Chen said worse words when she was angry, Luna informed them. She said my birth parents were probably terrible people who didn't deserve me. She wasn't entirely wrong, Matthias said quietly. We didn't deserve you. But if you'll let us, we'd like to try to earn the right to be in your life. Luna considered this, pulling at a thread on the blanket. Where would I live? With me, Sophia said immediately, then caught Matthias's expression. I mean, we can work out arrangements, but you need stability. I have a big house, Luna interrupted, looking at Matthias. The Chens did too. Big houses feel empty. She looked around Sophia's small apartment. This feels better. Safer. Then you'll stay here, Matthias said, surprising Sophia. Whatever makes you feel safe. What about you? Luna asked him directly. Where will you be? Wherever you're comfortable with me being. If you want me to leave. No. The word burst out of Luna, followed by a quieter, not yet. I want to know why you really gave me away. The whole truth, not the grown-up version where you leave stuff out. Matthias looked at Sophia again, and she saw him make a decision. Okay. The whole truth. But it's no. A nice story. I've lived on the streets for 6 months, Luna said flatly. I've seen not nice things. This story is about second chances and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. If you're finding yourself moved by Luna's journey, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more powerful stories of family, forgiveness, and finding your way home. Over the next hour, Matthias told their story, meeting Sophia in college, falling in love, the unexpected pregnancy, Sophia's father's threats, his own mother's manipulation, the fear and cowardice that led to his devastating lie. Sophia added her own pieces, the grief, the years of therapy, the way she'd thrown herself into community work to fill the void. Your grandfather, your mother's father, came from old money and old ideas, Matthias explained to Luna. When he found out Sophia was pregnant, he threatened to cut her off completely. No college education, no support, nothing. And my grandmother, your father's mother, thought we were too young to be parents, Sophia added, the words still bitter after all these years. She convinced Matthias that giving you up for adoption was the right thing to do. But why did you tell her I was dead? Luna asked Matthias directly. That's a really big lie. Matthias swallowed hard. Because I was a coward. Because I thought if Sophia believed you had died, she would grieve and eventually move on with her life. If she knew you were out there somewhere, adopted by another family, I was afraid she would never stop looking for you. That was a stupid plan, Luna said flatly. Yes, Matthias agreed. It was the worst decision I've ever made. Luna listened with the intensity of a judge weighing evidence. When they finished, she was quiet for a long moment. So basically, she finally said, a bunch of grown-ups made bad choices and I'm the one who had to live with them. Yes, Sophia said, not sugarcoating it. That's exactly what happened. But you saved me today, Luna said, looking at Sophia. Even though you didn't know I was yours. I would save any child in danger. But you quit your job for me. The mean lady said you were fired. Jobs are replaceable, Sophia said firmly. You're not. Luna turned to Matthias. And you've been looking for me? Every day for 2 years, he confirmed. I have a whole team of people whose only job was to find you. That must have cost a lot of money. You're worth more than all the money in the world. Luna made a skeptical face that was pure Sophia. That's what grown-ups say when they feel guilty. You're right, Matthias admitted. I do feel guilty. But it's also true. The little girl yawned, the emotional weight of the day catching up with her. I'm tired. You can sleep in my bed, Sophia offered. I'll take the couch. Will you both still be here when I wake up? The vulnerability in the question broke both their hearts. Yes, they promised together. As Sophia tucked Luna into her bed, their daughter, alive, real, here, she felt Matthias watching from the doorway. She's remarkable, he said softly. Smart, resilient, brave. She gets that from you. She gets the stubborn streak from you, Sophia replied, smoothing Luna's hair as the child drifted off. And the eyes. The attitude is all yours though. A ghost of their old banter flickered between them. They moved to the living room, the weight of everything settling over them. I lost my job today, Sophia said unnecessarily. I'll take care of. No. She cut him off. I don't want your money, Matthias. I never did. But Luna needs. Luna needs parents who can work together without money being a weapon or a bandage. She met his gaze directly. Can you do that? Can you be her father without trying to buy your way out of the hard parts? I don't know, he admitted. I've spent 7 years using money to solve problems. But for her, for you, I'll try. I'm not asking for me. Whatever we were, that's gone. Is it? The question was soft, dangerous in its honesty. You lied to me about our child's death. That's not something you come back from. I know. He stood to leave, then paused. But I also know that you looked at her the same way you used to look at the kids at the community center, like they held all the hope in the world. And when you held her today, protecting her from that car, I saw the mother you should have been all along. The mother I stole from both of you. Don't. Sophia's voice was sharp. Don't romanticize this. We have a traumatized 6-year-old who's been living on the streets. That's our reality. Our reality, he repeated. We're a we in this. As her parents. Nothing more. He nodded, accepting the boundary. I'll come by tomorrow. We need to figure out legal guardianship, medical care, school enrollment. Fine. At the door, he turned back. Sophia. Thank you. For saving her. For keeping her safe. For being the mother she needed even when you didn't know she was yours. After he left, Sophia sat in the darkness, processing the impossible day. This morning, she'd been a community center employee with a carefully ordered life built around helping other people's children. Tonight, she was an unemployed single mother to a 6-year-old who'd been living on the streets. A 6-year-old who was her daughter. The daughter she'd thought was dead for 7 years. A soft whimper from the bedroom drew her attention. Luna was having a nightmare, her small body thrashing against invisible threats. "Shoo, baby girl," Sophia soothed, gathering Luna into her arms. "You're safe. Mama's here." Luna's eyes fluttered open. "Mama?" "Yes, sweetheart. I'm here. Promise you won't disappear." "Everybody always disappears." "I promise," Sophia vowed, holding her daughter, her living, breathing, beautiful daughter, close. "I'm never letting you go again." As Luna settled back to sleep, Sophia felt the broken pieces of her heart beginning to reshape themselves around this unexpected miracle. It wouldn't be easy. There would be therapy and legal battles and the complex navigation of co-parenting with a man who'd betrayed her in the worst possible way. But Luna was alive. Luna was here. Luna was hers. The next morning brought a flurry of activity. Matthias arrived early, accompanied by a kindly older woman he introduced as Mrs. Jenkins, his housekeeper of 15 years. "I thought Luna might need some clothes," he explained, as Mrs. Jenkins set down several shopping bags. "And Mrs. Jenkins is an excellent cook. I thought she could make breakfast while we talk." Luna eyed the woman suspiciously from behind Sophia. "Are you going to try to take me away?" Mrs. Jenkins knelt down to Luna's level. "Absolutely not, young miss. I'm just here to make pancakes and help with whatever you need." "What shape pancakes?" Luna asked, her voice serious. "Any shape you like. I'm quite good at animals." Luna considered this. "Can you make dragon pancakes?" "Dragons are my specialty," Mrs. Jenkins replied without missing a beat. With Luna cautiously helping in the kitchen, Matthias and Sophia sat at the small dining table, his laptop open between them. "I've made some calls," he said quietly. "I have a lawyer who specializes in family reunification cases. She'll be here at noon to discuss our options." "We need to get her to a doctor," Sophia said. "She's been on the streets for months. And we need to understand her medical history better. She mentioned the Chens took her to specialists because she's different." Matthias nodded. "I've arranged for Dr. Marshall to see her this afternoon. She's a pediatrician who specializes in neurodevelopmental assessments. She can do a full medical check at the same time." Sophia's eyebrows rose. "You've been busy." "I haven't slept," he admitted. "None of this feels real yet." "I know what you mean." They watched Luna carefully showing Mrs. Jenkins how to fold napkins in a precise way that seemed important to her. The morning sunlight caught her dark hair, bringing out auburn highlights that matched Sophia's own. "She has your smile," Matthias said softly. "When she actually smiles, which hasn't been often." "She has your focus," Sophia replied. "That intense concentration." "Sophia, about your job." "I don't want to talk about it." She cut him off. "I'll figure something out. At least let me help until you do. For Luna's sake." Before she could respond, Luna appeared beside them, a dragon-shaped pancake on her plate. "Mrs. Jenkins says dragons need syrup to fly," she informed them seriously. "She's absolutely right," Sophia said, pushing the syrup bottle toward her. "I told Mrs. Jenkins you're my real parents," Luna continued, pouring syrup with careful precision. She didn't seem surprised. Matthias and Sophia exchanged glances. "Mrs. Jenkins has worked for me for a long time," Matthias explained gently. "She knew about you when you were a baby." Luna's eyes widened. "Did she see me when I was born?" "No, sweetheart. Very few people did." His voice grew soft. "That was part of the mistake I made." Luna seemed to accept this, focusing on her pancake. "Mrs. Jenkins says she can teach me to make cookies. Can she come visit sometimes?" "Of course," Sophia said, surprised by the request. "If you'd like that." I like her. She doesn't talk to me like I'm stupid. Luna took a careful bite of her pancake. A lot of grown-ups do that. After breakfast, they faced the challenge of getting Luna to agree to see a doctor. Her fear of being taken away was overwhelming, and it took both Sophia and Matthias almost an hour to convince her that Dr. Marshall wouldn't separate her from them. I'll be with you the whole time, Sophia promised. Right there holding your hand. Can he come too? Luna asked, pointing to Matthias. If you want me to, Matthias said, clearly touched by the request. I want both of you, Luna declared. So if they try something, you can both stop them. The doctor's visit revealed what they'd suspected. Luna was underweight and had minor infections that needed treatment, but was otherwise physically healthy. The neurodevelopmental assessment, however, confirmed what Luna had told them. She was on the autism spectrum, high-functioning but with sensory processing challenges that explained some of her behaviors. It's not something to fix, Dr. Marshall explained to all three of them. It's just how her brilliant brain works. With the right support, she'll thrive. I told you I was different, Luna said, a note of pride creeping into her voice. Different in the best ways, Sophia assured her. After the appointment, they stopped for ice cream at Luna's request, her first in months, she informed them solemnly. Watching her savor each careful bite, Sophia felt something inside her chest simultaneously breaking and healing. She's actually here, she whispered to Matthias as Luna examined the sprinkle distribution on her cone. Our daughter is actually alive and sitting across from us. I know, he replied, his voice rough with emotion. I keep expecting to wake up. Why do you keep staring at me? Luna asked suddenly, looking up from her ice cream. Because we missed 7 years of watching you grow, Sophia answered honestly. We're trying to catch up. Luna seemed to accept this explanation. I missed having parents too. The Chens were nice, but Mrs. Chen always said I was too much sometimes. Too loud or too quiet or too particular. You're exactly the right amount of everything, Matthias said firmly. Luna studied him for a moment. You don't know me yet. You might think I'm too much too. Never, he promised. When they returned to Sophia's apartment, they found a sleek black car parked outside. A woman in an impeccable suit stood beside it, checking her watch. That's Alexandra Reed, Matthias murmured. The family lawyer I mentioned. Luna immediately tensed. Is she going to take me away? No, sweetheart, Sophia soothed. She's here to help us make sure no one can ever take you away. The meeting with the lawyer was complex. Because of the unusual circumstances, Luna believed dead by one parent and given up by the other, there were significant legal hurdles to overcome. We'll need to amend the birth certificate, Alexandra explained. Establish legal parentage through DNA testing, and address the years of separation. Will someone try to take her away? Sophia asked, voicing the fear that had kept her on edge all day. The Chen's adoption was never properly finalized, Alexandra said. That works in our favor. But there could be complications. Mr. Wolf gave false information about Luna's death, which constitutes fraud. I'll accept whatever consequences come from that, Matthias said firmly. But Luna stays with her mother. Luna, who had been quietly drawing at the coffee table, looked up. What about you? Do you want me to stay with you too? Matthias knelt beside her. I want whatever makes you feel safe and happy, Luna. Right now, that's being with Sophia, and I completely agree that's where you should be. But you'll still visit? The question revealed vulnerability beneath her cautious exterior. Every day, if you'll let me. The lawyer watched this exchange with professional interest. The court will consider the child's preferences, especially given her age and circumstances. If she's expressing a desire to know both biological parents, that will help our case. What case? Sophia asked. To establish joint legal custody, Alexandra explained. With primary physical custody going to you, Ms. Moreno, and visitation rights for Mr. Wolf. Joint custody. The words hung in the air, making real what had seemed impossible just 24 hours ago. They were parents. Together. Connected for life through the small person watching them with those amber eyes that saw too much. What happens next? Sophia asked. DNA testing first, Alexandra replied. Then we file the paperwork. Given Mr. Wolf's resources and connections, we can expedite much of this process. I don't want special treatment, Sophia began. It's not about special treatment, Matthias interrupted. It's about making Luna legally ours as quickly as possible so she never has to fear being taken away again. Put that way, Sophia couldn't argue. After the lawyer left, the three of them faced the evening together, their first full evening as a family. The awkwardness was palpable as they navigated simple decisions like what to have for dinner and what movie to watch. This is weird, Luna announced as they sat stiffly in the living room. You both look scared. We are, a little, Sophia admitted. Of what? Of making mistakes, Matthias said. Of not being the parents you deserve. Luna considered this. I'm scared too. That you'll change your minds about wanting me. That will never happen, they said in unison. Luna smiled, a real smile that transformed her solemn face. You do that a lot. Say the same thing at the same time. We used to know each other very well, Sophia said carefully. Before you lied to her? Luna asked Matthias directly. He nodded, not flinching from the accusation. Yes. Before I made the worst mistake of my life. Mrs. Chen said people who make mistakes should get second chances if they're really sorry. Luna's eyes moved between them. Are you really sorry? More sorry than I could ever explain, Matthias said softly. Luna nodded, accepting this. Then I think you should get a second chance. She paused. But not as her boyfriend. Just as my dad. The clarity with which she separated these roles startled both adults. That's exactly right, Sophia said, recovering first. Matthias is here as your father. That's what matters now. As the evening progressed, they settled into a tentative rhythm. Luna allowed Matthias to read her a bedtime story while Sophia prepared the bedroom. When she finally drifted off to sleep, they stood together in the doorway, watching their daughter's peaceful face. I keep thinking this is a dream, Sophia whispered. That I'll wake up and she'll be gone. I know, Matthias replied. I felt the same way the first time I saw her, 2 months ago. Just a glimpse before she ran away. I wasn't sure it was really her until I got closer today. 2 months ago. You've been that close to finding her? He nodded. She's incredibly resourceful. Every time my team got close, she'd disappear again. That's why I was at the community center yesterday, following a lead that she'd been seen in that area. And instead, you found her in my arms. Where she always should have been. His voice broke slightly. Sophia, I know you can never forgive me. Don't, she cut him off. Not tonight. Tonight is about Luna. He nodded, respecting her boundary. I should go. It's late. What time will you be back tomorrow? She asked, surprising herself with the question. Whenever you want. Both of you. 9 o'clock, Sophia decided. Luna will want breakfast first, I think. She's very particular about her morning routine. 9 it is. At the door, he paused. Thank you, Sophia. For letting me be part of this. I know you could have shut me out completely, and no one would have blamed you. Luna deserves to know her father, Sophia said simply. Whatever happened between us, that's the truth. After he left, Sophia checked on Luna one more time before collapsing onto the couch. The events of the past 36 hours crashed over her in waves, losing her job, finding her daughter, confronting Matthias, beginning the process of becoming a family in some new, undefined way. Her phone buzzed with a text from him, "Sleep well. I'll bring breakfast tomorrow. Any requests?" She hesitated before replying. Luna likes her toast cut into triangles, not rectangles. And she only likes the raspberry jam, not strawberry. His response came quickly, "Triangles and raspberry." "Got it. Anything for you?" She almost wrote, "Nothing," but caught herself. This wasn't about them, but it also wasn't about punishing him at Luna's expense. They needed to find a way to communicate. Coffee. Black. And maybe some of those croissants from Bellini's that you used to bring on Sundays. She could almost see his smile as he replied, "Coffee and croissants. See you both at 9. Sophia closed her eyes, letting exhaustion pull her toward sleep. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, legal documents, medical follow-ups, decisions about schooling and therapy. But tonight, her daughter was asleep in the next room. Her daughter, who had her eyes and Matthias's smile and a mind that saw the world in patterns most people missed. Her daughter, who was alive. That miracle, impossible as it seemed, was enough for now. The morning light filtered through Sophia's curtains as she woke to the unfamiliar sound of soft breathing beside her. Luna had crawled into her bed sometime during the night, her small form curled against Sophia's side. For a moment, Sophia simply stared, memorizing every detail of her daughter's face, the dark lashes resting against her cheeks, the slight furrow between her brows, the way her lips parted slightly with each breath. 7 years. 7 years of believing this perfect being had never taken a breath. 7 years of grief and emptiness, only to discover her daughter had been alive all along, growing and learning without her. Luna's eyes fluttered open, instantly alert in that way Sophia had already noticed, the vigilance of a child who had learned to protect herself. "You're still here," Luna whispered, relief evident in her voice. "I promised I would be," Sophia replied, smoothing back Luna's tangled hair. "Did you have a bad dream?" Luna nodded. "I was alone again, in the dark place." "The dark place?" "Where I hid from the rain sometimes. Under the bridge." Luna's voice was matter-of-fact, but her small body tensed at the memory. There were scary sounds there. Sophia pulled her closer, rage and protectiveness warring in her chest. "You'll never have to hide in dark places again, sweetheart. I promise. Because you're my real mom. Because I'm your mom, and because I love you." Sophia kissed the top of Luna's head. "I've loved you since before you were born, and I never stopped, even when I thought you were gone." Luna seemed to consider this, her amber eyes serious. "Papa is bringing breakfast. He said so in the text." Sophia blinked in surprise. "You read my texts. You fell asleep with your phone. I wanted to make sure you weren't sending me away." Luna's honesty was disarming. "I saw his name. He said triangle toast and raspberry jam. Yes, he's bringing breakfast at 9. Sophia checked the clock, 7:30. "We have time for a bath before he gets here." Luna's nose wrinkled. "Another bath? I just had one yesterday." "Baths are going to be a regular thing now," Sophia explained gently. "Most people have them every day. The Chens made me take them every day too. But on the streets, water is hard to find." Luna picked at a loose thread on the blanket. "Will we stay here forever?" The question caught Sophia off guard. "Would you like that? To stay here?" Luna looked around the small bedroom thoughtfully. "It's small. But not too small. And it's quiet." "The Chen's house was too big," my voice echoed. She paused, considering. "I think I like it here." But what, sweetheart? Where will Papa stay?" "There's no room for him." Sophia took a careful breath. "Papa has his own home. He'll visit us here, and sometimes you can visit him there, if you want to." Like my friend May at the shelter. Her parents lived in different houses too. Luna nodded as if this made perfect sense. She said it was because they fought too much. It's not exactly the same, Sophia began carefully. Your father and I, we haven't been together for a very long time. Because of the lie? Yes, partly because of that. Sophia marveled at her daughter's directness. But mostly because we were very young, and we made different choices. Until you found me. Until we found you, Sophia agreed, her throat tight with emotion. Now we'll always be connected, because we're both your parents. Luna seemed satisfied with this explanation. Can I wear the purple shirt Mrs. Jenkins brought yesterday? Of course. After getting ready, Sophia watched as Luna meticulously arranged her few possessions on the nightstand, a small, worn rabbit toy she'd kept through her months on the street, a smooth stone she claimed was magic, and a crumpled photograph of the Chens that she carefully smoothed out. They were nice to me, Luna said, noticing Sophia watching. Not like my real mom, but nice. I'm glad they took good care of you, Sophia said, meaning it despite the ache in her chest. I'll always be grateful to them for loving you when I couldn't. Mrs. Chen said I was smart but difficult. Luna's voice was small. She said some children are just harder to raise than others. You're not difficult, Sophia said firmly. You're exactly who you're supposed to be. And being smart is a wonderful thing. Luna looked up, her eyes suddenly vulnerable. Will you think I'm too much sometimes too? Never, Sophia promised, kneeling to meet her daughter's gaze. I will get frustrated sometimes, because all parents do. I'll make mistakes. But I will never, ever think you're too much or too difficult or anything but exactly the amazing person you are. A knock at the door interrupted them. Luna immediately tensed. It's just your father, Sophia reassured her. Remember, he's bringing breakfast. Luna nodded, but stayed close to Sophia as they went to answer the door. Matthias stood in the hallway, his arms full of bags. His casual attire, jeans and a simple sweater, was a stark contrast to yesterday's expensive suit. It made him look younger, more like the man Sophia had known in college. Good morning, he said, his eyes moving from Sophia to Luna. I brought breakfast as promised. Triangle toast, raspberry jam, and those croissants you liked. And coffee? Sophia asked, stepping back to let him in. Black, no sugar. He held up a cup from her favorite cafe. Some things I remember perfectly. The comment hung in the air between them, weighted with meaning neither was ready to acknowledge. Luna broke the tension. Did you bring orange juice? I need vitamin C, Mrs. Chen said it's important for brain development. I did, actually. Matthias set the bags on the counter and produced a bottle of organic orange juice. And Mrs. Jenkins sent along some homemade granola. She said growing children need proper nutrition. Mrs. Jenkins is smart, Luna declared, inspecting the granola with careful fingers. This has almonds. I like almonds. Watching Luna interact with Matthias, Sophia was struck by how similar their mannerisms were, the same careful precision, the same analytical gaze. Nature over nurture, playing out before her eyes. As they ate breakfast, Alexandra Reed called to confirm that she had scheduled a DNA test for that afternoon and had already begun the paperwork to establish legal custody. We'll need to address the death certificate issue, she explained when Sophia put her on speaker. Mr. Wolf filed false documentation stating the child died at birth. I did, Matthias acknowledged, his voice tight. And I'll face whatever consequences come from that. Fortunately, I've spoken with the attending nurse from that night, Alexandra continued. She's willing to submit an affidavit stating there was confusion between two infants, one who sadly did pass away, and Luna, who was mistakenly identified as that child. That's not what happened, Luna said suddenly, her voice cutting through the conversation. He's lying again. The adults fell silent, all eyes turning to Luna. You're right, Sophia said finally. That would be another lie. But sweetheart, Matthias began gently, sometimes in legal matters. No more lies, Luna interrupted, her small face fierce. Mrs. Chen said lies just make bigger problems later. Alexandra cleared her throat over the speaker. The child has a point. However, the truth in this case could result in criminal charges for Mr. Wolf. False death certificates, fraud, potential kidnapping implications. Then that's what happens, Luna said firmly. Papa did a bad thing. He should say sorry, not tell more lies. The simplicity of her moral compass left the adult speechless. She's right, Matthias said finally. No more lies, no matter the consequences. He looked directly at Luna. I did a terrible thing, and I need to take responsibility for it. Thank you for reminding me of that. Luna nodded, satisfied. You're welcome. Alexandra sighed. This will complicate matters considerably, Mr. Wolf. But it's the right thing to do, he replied, not looking away from his daughter's face. And I want to teach Luna that doing the right thing matters, even when it's difficult. If you're finding value in this story about honesty and second chances, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue bringing these meaningful stories to life. After the call ended, they faced the challenge of explaining to Luna what would happen next, the DNA test, the legal proceedings, the potential court appearances. Will I have to talk to a judge? She asked, anxiety evident in her voice. Possibly, Sophia answered honestly. But we'll be right there with you. What if they take me away? What if they put me in one of those homes where the big kids hurt the little ones? The specificity of her fear made Sophia's blood run cold. Did that happen to you, Luna? After the Chens died? Luna nodded, her eyes downcast. At the first place. That's why I ran away. Then Mrs. Westfield found me and told me to keep running because my real father was looking for me and he was dangerous. I'm so sorry, Matthias said, his voice thick with emotion. I'm so sorry that happened to you because of my choices. But you're not dangerous, Luna said, studying him. You're just sad. The observation, so simple yet so perceptive, hit Matthias visibly. Yes, he agreed softly. I've been very sad for a very long time. Because you gave me away and lied to my mom? Yes. Because I hurt both of you so badly. Luna considered this. Mrs. Chen said when you hurt someone, you have to do 3 things, say sorry, fix what you broke, and promise not to do it again. That's very wise, Sophia said, amazed by her daughter's clarity. So, Luna continued, turning to Matthias, you said sorry. Now you have to fix it and promise not to lie anymore. I promise I will never lie to you or your mother again, Matthias said solemnly. And I'll spend the rest of my life trying to fix what I broke. Okay. Luna nodded, as if a contract had been sealed. Can we go to the park today? I haven't been on a swing in 187 days. The precise count broke Sophia's heart. Yes, we can go to the park. But first we need to do the DNA test, remember? To prove you're really my parents? Luna asked. Even though we all know you are. Sometimes grown-up rules require proof, Matthias explained. Even for things we already know. The DNA testing was quick, a simple cheek swab for all 3 of them. Luna watched everything with intense interest, asking detailed questions about genetic markers and chromosomes that surprised the technician. She's exceptionally bright, the woman commented. I know, Sophia and Matthias said in unison. Afterward, as promised, they took Luna to the park. Watching her on the swings, her face transformed by joy as she pumped her legs higher and higher, Sophia felt a conflicting tangle of emotions, happiness at seeing her daughter so carefree, rage at all the time they'd lost, and beneath it all, a persistent ache when she looked at Matthias standing nearby, his eyes never leaving Luna's flying form. She laughs like you, he said quietly, coming to stand beside Sophia. That full-body laugh that takes over everything. She focuses like you, Sophia replied. That absolute concentration. They stood in silence, watching their daughter play. I missed everything, Sophia whispered. Her first steps, her first words, her first day of school. So did I, Matthias reminded her. I gave her away, but I didn't get to see those things either. The Chens did. Do you know anything about them? What kind of people they were? Matthias nodded. Robert Chen was a business associate. They were older, successful, kind. They'd tried to have children for years without success. When they heard about our situation, they approached me privately. So they knew the truth. That Luna wasn't an orphan. Yes. They agreed to a closed private adoption. They promised to give her everything, the best schools, travel, culture, love. His voice broke. They kept their promise. They did love her. Mrs. Chen, Diane, sent me photos once a year. On Luna's birthday. Sophia's head snapped toward him. You saw pictures of her growing up. All these years. 5 photos. One each year on her birthday until they died. Matthias met her accusing gaze. I have them. I'll give them to you, of course. You should have given them to me 7 years ago, Sophia hissed, careful to keep her voice down. You should have told me she was alive. I know. He didn't try to defend himself. I know, Sophia. Mama. Papa. Look how high I'm going. Luna called from the swing, her face alight with excitement. I'm touching the sky. They both waved, their faces automatically arranging into smiles for their daughter's benefit. We need to get through the next few weeks, Sophia said tightly. For Luna. But don't think for a second that I've forgiven you. I don't know if I ever can. I don't expect forgiveness, Matthias replied. I don't deserve it. But Luna deserves both her parents, so I'll be here. However you need me to be. Over the following days, they settled into an uneasy routine. Matthias came every morning for breakfast and stayed until after Luna went to bed. He kept his interactions with Sophia polite but distant, focusing entirely on building a relationship with his daughter. The DNA results confirmed what they already knew, and Alexandra worked tirelessly to navigate the complex legal situation. As Luna had insisted, Matthias confessed to falsifying the death certificate, which resulted in formal charges, but also in an outpouring of public sympathy when the story leaked to the media. Billionaire finds long-lost daughter living homeless, the headlines screamed. Mother believed child dead for 7 years. The publicity was a mixed blessing. On one hand, it put pressure on the legal system to resolve the situation quickly and favorably for the family. On the other, it meant photographers camped outside Sophia's apartment building and followed Luna to her first day at her new school. I don't like the people with cameras, Luna said, clutching Sophia's hand tightly as they hurried into the building. They make my head feel buzzy. I know, sweetheart. They make my head feel buzzy too. Sophia shot a glare at one particularly persistent photographer. They'll lose interest soon. No, they won't, Luna replied with her characteristic bluntness. Papa is rich and famous, and people like stories about rich and famous people. That's why Mrs. Chen always read those magazines. Sophia couldn't argue with her daughter's assessment. Well, we'll just have to be brave until they find someone else to bother. The school Matthias had found for Luna was small and specialized, with experience teaching neurodivergent children. After her assessment, Luna had been officially diagnosed with high-functioning autism and sensory processing differences, challenges that explained many of her behaviors and preferences. We focus on working with each child's unique brain wiring, not against it, the director explained during their tour. Luna's pattern recognition abilities are extraordinary. We'll nurture that strength while helping her develop strategies for the areas she finds challenging. Like talking to other kids, Luna added matter-of-factly. I'm not good at that. Social skills can be learned, the director assured her. Just like math or reading. I'm already good at math and reading, Luna informed her. I taught myself from Mrs. Chen's books. A quick assessment confirmed Luna's claim. She was reading at a 5th grade level and had an intuitive grasp of mathematical concepts well beyond her years. Her knowledge was uneven, with significant gaps in areas the Chens hadn't emphasized and during her months on the street, but her ability to absorb information was remarkable. She's probably what we used to call a twice exceptional child, Luna's new teacher, Ms. Patel, explained. Gifted intellectually but with neurodevelopmental differences that create challenges. With the right support, these children often thrive in remarkable ways. As they left the school after Luna's first successful day, they found Matthias waiting outside, standing awkwardly apart from the other parents. Papa! Luna called, breaking away from Sophia to run to him. I learned about fractals today. They're patterns that repeat at different scales, and they're everywhere. Matthias knelt to her level, his face lighting up at her excitement. Really? Where did you find them? In the leaves on the playground, and in the clouds, and Ms. Patel showed us pictures of something called a Mandelbrot set, which is a special kind of fractal that looks like a weird bug but it's made of math. Watching them together, Sophia felt a confusing mix of emotions, joy at seeing Luna so animated, gratitude that Matthias was proving to be a dedicated father, and beneath it all, a persistent anger that refused to fade. I thought we could all have dinner together, Matthias suggested as they walked toward Sophia's car. To celebrate Luna's first day of school. Can we get pizza? Luna asked eagerly. With pineapple? Pineapple doesn't belong on pizza, Matthias said automatically, then caught Sophia's eye. It was an old argument between them, familiar and strangely intimate. Yes, it does, Sophia countered, the response automatic even after 7 years. Sweet and savory is a classic combination. See? Mama understands, Luna said, taking both their hands as they walked. You can get your boring plain pizza, Papa. The casual way she claimed them both as her parents, the easy use of Mama and Papa, still caught Sophia off guard sometimes. Luna had accepted them with a child's remarkable adaptability, even as the adults struggled to find their footing in this new reality. Dinner was surprisingly pleasant. Luna dominated the conversation with detailed descriptions of her day, her new classmates, and her theories about fractals in nature. By the time they returned to the apartment, she was yawning despite her protests that she wasn't tired. Story first, she insisted as Sophia guided her toward the bedroom. Papa reads the dragon voices better. It had become their nightly ritual, Matthias reading Luna's favorite dragon story, complete with different voices for each character, while Sophia sat nearby, watching her daughter's eyelids grow heavy. Tonight, after Luna had finally drifted off, Sophia found Matthias lingering in the living room rather than preparing to leave as he usually did. Alexandra called earlier, he said quietly. She's arranged a meeting with the prosecutor tomorrow. They're considering a plea deal. What kind of deal? Community service, a substantial fine, and 5 years probation. No jail time. He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture so familiar it made Sophia's chest ache. They're taking into account the unique circumstances and the fact that Luna wants to know her father. You could have gone to prison, Sophia said, the reality of it hitting her. For what you did. I still could, if the judge rejects the deal. Matthias met her gaze. I've made arrangements, just in case. Financial provisions for Luna, educational trusts, healthcare, everything she'll need. She needs her father, not your money, Sophia said, surprising herself with the vehemence in her voice. She's just found you. Losing you again would devastate her. I know. His voice was rough. Believe me, I know. But I have to face the consequences of what I did, Sophia. No more lies, no more running. Luna was right about that. The mention of consequences brought Sophia's own situation into sharp focus. I still don't have a job. My savings will only last another few weeks. Let me help. No. She cut him off. We've been through this. I don't want your money. It's not about pride, Sophia. It's about making sure Luna has everything she needs while you find the right position. He hesitated. Actually, I might have a solution that doesn't involve my money directly. What kind of solution? The community center in Riverside Park is looking for a new director. He held up a hand when he saw her expression. I didn't arrange it. Miranda Hartley's methods have been under scrutiny for months. Your confrontation, as apparently the last straw. The board asked for her resignation last week. And you just happen to know this because I'm on the board, he admitted. But I've recused myself from the hiring process entirely. I won't be involved. Your qualifications would stand on their own. Sophia paced the small living room. The same center that fired me is now considering me for director. That's hard to believe. They fired you under pressure from Miranda. Most of the staff and board members were impressed by your actions that day. He paused. Derek, the security guard, apparently made quite an impassioned speech on your behalf. The thought of gruff, quiet Derek defending her to the board brought a reluctant smile to Sophia's face. He always did have a soft spot for the kids. Like you. Matthias's voice was soft. It's a good opportunity, Sophia. Better pay, more authority to implement the programs you always talked about. Just consider it. I'll think about it, she conceded. But I need to know it's legitimate, not some favor you've arranged. I understand. The board chair is Elaine Winters. Call her directly. I promise I haven't spoken to her about you. After Matthias left, Sophia sat alone in the quiet apartment, thinking about the community center position. It would be perfect, close to Luna's school, familiar work but with more responsibility, and a significant step up in her career. If it was legitimate. She found Elaine Winters' contact information online and, before she could talk herself out of it, sent an email expressing interest in the position. The response came within minutes, inviting her for an interview the following morning. The next day was a whirlwind. After dropping Luna at school, Sophia went directly to her interview, trying to ignore the nervous flutter in her stomach. Elaine Winters was a formidable woman in her 60s, with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Ms. Moreno, she said, extending her hand. I've heard a great deal about you. From Matthias Wolff? Sophia asked directly. Elaine's eyebrows rose. Actually, no. From Derek Jenkins, our head of security, and from several parents whose children you've worked with. Mr. Wolff has recused himself from this hiring process entirely, citing a personal connection. Relief flooded through Sophia. I wanted to be sure this was based on my qualifications. Understandable. Elaine gestured for her to sit. Now, tell me why you're the right person to lead Riverside Community Center. The interview lasted over an hour, covering everything from Sophia's experience to her vision for community programming. By the end, she felt energized rather than drained. It was the first time in weeks she had focused on something beyond the immediate crisis of Luna and Matthias. Your passion is evident, Elaine said as they concluded. And your dedication to the children we serve is precisely what we're looking for. The board will make its final decision by Friday, but I can tell you that you're our leading candidate. From the community center, Sophia went directly to the courthouse where Matthias was meeting with the prosecutor. She found him sitting alone on a bench outside the conference room, his head in his hands. Matthias, she said softly, surprised by the concern that rose in her at his defeated posture. He looked up, his face drawn with strain. Sophia. I didn't expect you. Luna's at school until 3. I thought. She hesitated. I thought you might need someone here. Something flickered in his eyes, hope, gratitude, she couldn't quite name it. Thank you. That means more than you know. What did they say? About the plea deal? It's complicated. He rubbed his temples. They're willing to accept community service and a fine, but they want me to make a public statement admitting what I did. Isn't that what you were planning to do anyway? Yes, but they want specifics, that I deliberately falsified records, that I lied to you and to the hospital, that I essentially kidnapped our child. You did those things, Sophia pointed out, her voice gentler than she intended. I know. He met her gaze directly. And I'll admit to all of it. But I'm worried about how it will affect Luna. The media coverage is already intense. If I make that kind of public statement, it will be everywhere. She'll have to face the consequences of my actions every time someone recognizes her name. Sophia hadn't considered this aspect. She's already dealing with so much. Exactly. He hesitated. There's another option. They'll drop the public statement requirement if I agree to fund a new wing at the Children's Hospital, specifically for neonatal care and parent support. A substantial commitment. How substantial? $20 million. Sophia blinked. That's a small price to pay for Luna's privacy, he finished. And it would actually do some good, help other families, improve care for newborns. It feels like buying your way out of trouble, Sophia said hesitantly. Isn't that what Luna was against? I've been thinking about that. The truth is, nothing I do can truly make up for what I did. Prison time won't give you back those 7 years. A public confession won't heal Luna's trauma. He looked down at his hands. But this money could actually help other families avoid similar pain. It seems like the most meaningful consequence. Sophia was silent for a long moment, weighing his words. Have you talked to Luna about this? Not yet. I wanted to discuss it with you first. He looked up. What do you think I should do? The question startled her, not just the asking, but the genuine uncertainty in his voice. The Matthias she had known 7 years ago would have made the decision unilaterally, confident in his own judgment. I think, she said slowly, that Luna deserves to understand all the options, in terms she can comprehend. And then I think we should listen to what she has to say. We're her parents. Both of us. Whatever happens between you and me, that's the reality we've chosen to embrace. That evening, they sat down with Luna and carefully explained the situation. To Sophia's surprise, Matthias didn't simplify or sugarcoat the choices, but presented them honestly, acknowledging the wrong he had done and the different ways he could make amends. Luna listened with her characteristic intensity, asking pointed questions that sometimes left the adult struggling for answers. Finally, she sat back, her small face serious. The hospital money is better, she declared. Saying sorry in public doesn't help anybody. Building a hospital place for babies helps lots of people. Are you sure, sweetheart? Sophia asked. It's okay if you think Papa should tell everyone what he did. Luna shook her head decisively. Mrs. Chen said actions speak louder than words. Building something that helps babies and moms is a loud action. Matthias looked stunned at her wisdom. Thank you, Luna. I think you're right. I know I'm right, she replied with the absolute confidence of a 6-year-old. And you should also volunteer at the baby place. Not just give money. I will, he promised. I'll volunteer regularly. Good. Luna nodded, satisfied. Now can we have ice cream? Thinking about hard things makes me hungry. Later that night, after Luna was asleep and Matthias had gone home, Sophia received a call from Elaine Winters. The board had voted unanimously to offer her the position of director of the Riverside Community Center, with a salary significantly higher than her previous role. We need someone with your vision and commitment, Elaine explained. Someone who puts children's welfare above rigid policies. Can you start Monday? Yes, Sophia said, relief flooding through her. Yes, I can start Monday. As the weeks passed, they settled into a rhythm. Luna thrived at her new school, making slow but steady progress with social skills while excelling academically. Sophia threw herself into her new role at the community center, implementing programs she'd dreamed of for years. Matthias fulfilled his plea agreement, funding the hospital wing and volunteering weekly in the neonatal unit, cradling fragile newborns whose parents couldn't be present. Their co-parenting arrangement evolved organically. Matthias still came for breakfast most mornings, and stayed for dinner and bedtime stories most evenings, but always left afterward, careful to respect the boundaries Sophia had established. Luna, however, had her own ideas about those boundaries. "I want to stay at Papa's house sometimes," she announced one evening during dinner, about 3 months after they'd found each other. "Not all the time. Just sometimes." Sophia nearly choked on her water. "At Papa's house?" "That's what I decided to call him." Luna looked at Matthias. "Is that okay?" "That's perfect," he managed, his voice rough. "Just for one night," Luna continued. "As a test." Sophia and Matthias exchanged glances over Luna's head. They hadn't discussed overnight visits yet, both tacitly understanding that Sophia needed to be Luna's primary caregiver while they established stability. "If that's what you want," Sophia said carefully, "we can arrange it. As long as you're comfortable." "I'm comfortable with Papa," Luna said simply. "And I want to see his library. He said it has books about space fractals." The night Luna spent at Matthias's house, Sophia couldn't sleep. She checked her phone obsessively, expecting crisis calls that never came. Instead, she received a photo at midnight, Luna asleep in a massive bed, surrounded by the dozens of stuffed animals Matthias had apparently bought, her small hand clutching his index finger. The text that followed was simple: "She's perfect. Thank you for letting me have this." Sophia stared at the image, her heart doing complicated things in her chest. The man in that photo, vulnerable and grateful and gentle, was the Matthias she'd fallen in love with 8 years ago. Before ambition and fear had twisted him into someone capable of such cruelty. When Luna returned the next morning, she was bubbling with excitement about Matthias's library, his pool, the telescope he'd set up so they could see the stars. "But I missed you," she told Sophia seriously. "Papa's house is fun, but you're home." Home. The word settled warm in Sophia's chest. As spring arrived, their unconventional family had found its rhythm. Luna split her time between both homes, attended a specialized school that understood her unique needs, and slowly learned to trust that her parents weren't going to disappear. "The other kids think it's weird," she said one afternoon, working on homework while Sophia cooked dinner. "That my parents don't live together. Does it bother you?" Luna shrugged. "Less weird than thinking your mom was dead for 6 years." The casual delivery of such heavy truth had become Luna's trademark. She processed trauma with a directness that was both heartbreaking and healing. "Fair point," Sophia conceded. "Mia's parents are getting divorced," Luna continued. "She cries at recess. At least you and Papa were never married, so you can't get divorced. That's one way to look at it. Do you think you'll ever get married? To each other, I mean." Sophia's hand stilled over the cutting board. "That's not something we're thinking about, sweetheart. Papa thinks about it." "What makes you say that?" "He has a ring in his desk drawer." "I wasn't snooping," Luna added quickly. "I was looking for tape and it was just there in a small blue box." Sophia's heart stuttered. "That could be anything. Maybe it's for someone else." Luna gave her a look that conveyed exactly what she thought of that theory. "He doesn't date anyone. Aunt Celeste says he hasn't since you." "Aunt Celeste talks too much," Sophia muttered, thinking of Matthias's sister who'd been carefully rebuilding her own relationship with Luna. "She also said you two were perfect together before everything went wrong." "Luna. I'm just saying, if you wanted to try again, I wouldn't mind." The conversation haunted Sophia through dinner, through bedtime stories, through the quiet evening that followed. A ring. He had a ring. Her phone buzzed with a text from Matthias. Luna left her science project here. Should I drop it off? Before she could overthink it, she typed back, I'll come get it. She stood on his doorstep 20 minutes later, her heart racing for reasons that had nothing to do with the quick drive. You didn't have to come, he said, opening the door. I could have brought it. I needed air. He studied her face, reading something there that made him step aside. Come in. I just opened a bottle of wine. They sat in his living room, the science project forgotten on the coffee table between them. Luna says she likes the arrangement, he said carefully. She also says you have a ring in your desk drawer. His wine glass paused halfway to his lips. She's too observant for her own good. Is it true? He set down his glass, meeting her eyes directly. Yes. Matthias. I bought it the day after we found her, he admitted. Not because I expected anything. I know what I did is unforgivable. But because for the first time in 7 years, I could imagine a future where we might find our way back to each other. If you're enjoying this journey of healing and redemption, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us share more stories that remind us of the power of forgiveness and second chances. You lied to me about our child's death. Yes. You let me grieve for 7 years. Yes. You denied Luna her mother. Yes. His voice broke on the word. And I'll regret it every day for the rest of my life. But Sophia, watching you with her, seeing the mother you are, the woman you've become, I fall in love with you all over again every single day. Love isn't enough, she said, but her voice lacked conviction. No, he agreed. But maybe love plus truth plus time plus forgiveness might be. That's a lot of pluses. We have a daughter who sees patterns in everything. She gets that from both of us. He moved closer, still leaving space between them. We were good together once. We were young and naive. We were in love and happy until I destroyed it. She looked at him, really looked at him. The silver threading through his temples, the lines around his eyes from years of regret, the hope he was trying so hard to contain. I can't promise anything, she heard herself say. I'm not asking for promises. Just possibility. Luna would be thrilled. I don't want you to consider this for Luna. She's already happy. This would be for us. Us. Such a dangerous word. Can I see it? The question surprised them both. The ring? She nodded, not trusting her voice. He retrieved it from his study, returning with the small blue box she'd been trying not to think about for hours. Inside was not the ostentatious diamond she'd expected, but a simple band with 3 stones, an amber one flanked by 2 smaller clear gems. Amber for Luna's eyes, he explained softly. Diamonds for tears, yours and mine. I had it made the day I realized our daughter was alive and you had saved her without even knowing who she was. It's beautiful, she admitted. It's yours, he said simply. Whenever you're ready. Even if that's never. Even if you decide to throw it in the ocean. It belongs to you, like my heart has all along. You're not playing fair. I played fair once and lost everything. I'm not making that mistake again. She closed the box, holding it in her palm, feeling its weight, not just the metal and stones, but the promise, the possibility, the path back to something that might be worth the risk. I'll think about it, she said finally. That's more than I deserve. Yes, she agreed. It is. But when he walked her to the door, she turned back, rose on her toes, and pressed a kiss to his cheek, the first voluntary contact between them since that horrible day 7 years ago. Good night, Matthias. Good night, Sophia. She drove home with the ring box in her pocket, its weight both terrifying and comforting. Luna was right, their family was weird. Broken and reformed, built on lies but held together by truth, separation and slowly, carefully, finding their way back to each other. The process wasn't easy. There were setbacks, like the day Luna had a meltdown at school when a classmate teased her about being the homeless girl from the news, or the night Sophia found herself sobbing uncontrollably after discovering the baby blanket she'd knitted 7 years ago still packed away in a box Matthias had kept. "I saved everything," he confessed when she confronted him with it. "Every gift from the baby shower, every outfit we bought together. I couldn't bring myself to throw them away, even when the Chens took her. You kept these things but told me our baby was dead." The contradiction was almost too much to bear. "I told you it was selfish and inexcusable," he said quietly. "I have no defense, Sophia." Yet for every painful moment, there were dozens of joyful ones: Luna's triumphant face when she mastered a difficult math concept, her laughter when they built sandcastles at the beach, the way she reached for both their hands automatically when crossing the street. One evening, about 5 months after they'd found each other, Luna asked to invite some friends from school for a small, carefully structured playdate with clear beginning and end times. "I'm practicing socializing," she explained seriously. "Ms. Patel says I need to interact with peers in multiple settings." "That sounds wonderful," Sophia said, hiding her amusement at Luna's formal phrasing. "Who would you like to invite?" "Zoe and Marcus. They understand about sensory breaks and don't talk too loudly." Luna tilted her head thoughtfully. "But our apartment is too small for games. Can we do it at Papa's house? He has that big backyard." "We can ask him," Sophia agreed, impressed by Luna's problem-solving. Matthias was more than happy to host, though he seemed nervous about the prospect of entertaining 3 6-year-olds. "What do I do with them?" he asked Sophia in a panicked whisper the morning of the playdate. "What if they don't like me?" "They're 6, not Fortune 500 executives," she teased. "Just be yourself. Luna thinks you're wonderful, and that's all that matters." The playdate was a success beyond anyone's expectations. Matthias revealed a previously unknown talent for creating elaborate treasure hunts, complete with coded clues and small prizes. The children were delighted, and Luna beamed with pride as she introduced her friends to her father. "That's my papa," Sophia overheard her telling Zoe. "He makes up the best stories and knows about space fractals." Later, as they cleaned up after the children had gone home, Matthias said quietly, "Thank you for this. For letting me be part of these normal moments." "You're her father," Sophia replied. "These moments are your right. Only because you've allowed it." He met her gaze. "You could have taken her and disappeared. After what I did, no one would have blamed you." The thought had never even occurred to her. That would have hurt Luna. "And you? Since when do you care about hurting me?" The question hung between them, genuine and vulnerable. "I don't know," she admitted. "Maybe since I watched you build pillow forts with our daughter. Or since I saw you hold that premature baby at the hospital for 4 hours so his mother could get some rest. Or maybe since you handed me a ring and said it was mine whether I wanted you or not." He stared at her, hope and fear warring in his expression. "Sophia. I'm not saying I forgive you," she interrupted. "I'm not sure I ever fully can. But I'm saying that hurting you doesn't feel good anymore. It just feels like hurting us all." It was the closest she'd come to acknowledging the possibility of them again. That night, Luna asked if she could stay at Matthias's house, and for the first time, Sophia stayed too, in the guest room, maintaining careful boundaries, but present. Together. Luna noticed, of course. Nothing escaped her perceptive gaze. "You stayed," she said at breakfast, looking between her parents with cautious hope. "Are we going to be a regular family now?" "We already are a family," Sophia assured her. "Just a different kind." "But you slept here. At Papa's house." Luna's amber eyes were serious. "That's a change in the pattern." "Yes," Sophia acknowledged. "It is. A good change." Luna pressed. Matthias remained silent, allowing Sophia to navigate the question on her own terms. I think so, Sophia said finally. What do you think? Would it be a good change if I spent more time here sometimes? Yes. Luna's answer was immediate and emphatic. Because then we'd all be together and I wouldn't have to miss one of you when I'm with the other one. Put that way, it seemed so simple. 6 months later, on a brilliant October day exactly 1 year after that first rainy encounter, they stood in the courthouse, Sophia, Matthias, and Luna. Not for a wedding, not yet, but for something equally important, the official adoption papers that would legally recognize what had always been true. They were Luna's parents. Finally, Luna said with satisfaction as the judge signed the documents. Now can we go get ice cream? Anything you want, sweetheart, Matthias said, lifting her onto his shoulders. Anything? Luna's eyes gleamed. Can we get a dog? Sophia and Matthias exchanged glances over their daughter's head, a whole conversation in a look. We'll discuss it, they said in unison, then laughed at Luna's exaggerated groan. As they walked out of the courthouse together, not quite the family they'd once imagined, but the family they'd fought to become, Sophia felt the ring box in her pocket, still carried but not worn. Not yet. But soon, maybe. When the time was right. When forgiveness had fully bloomed from the ashes of betrayal. When Luna was ready for her weird, wonderful family to take its next shape. For now, this was enough, their daughter between them, safe and loved and theirs. The rest would come in time, as all the best things did, with patience and truth and the kind of love that could survive even the deepest wounds. I love you guys, Luna announced suddenly, swinging between their joined hands. Even if you're both really complicated. We love you too, baby girl, Sophia said, catching Matthias's eye over Luna's head. More than all the stars you can see through Papa's telescope. That's a lot of stars, Luna said seriously. Yes, Matthias agreed, his hand tightening around both of theirs. It really is. 2 months later, just before Christmas, Sophia finally wore the ring. There was no grand proposal, no elaborate gesture, just a quiet evening at home, Luna asleep upstairs in what was now her permanent room at Matthias's house, where they all lived together more often than not. I think I'm ready, Sophia said simply, taking the blue box from her drawer and opening it. Matthias looked up from his book, his expression cautious. Ready for what? She held up the ring. For possibility. He crossed the room slowly, as if afraid a sudden movement might shatter the moment. Are you sure? No, she admitted with a small laugh. I'm not sure of anything except that I love our daughter, and that watching you love her too has healed parts of me I thought were broken forever. She held out the ring to him. I think that's a foundation worth building on. He took the ring with trembling fingers. I don't deserve this chance. Probably not, she agreed. But Luna deserves parents who have found peace with each other. And I deserve to stop carrying the weight of anger that only hurts me. She extended her hand. So yes, I'm ready. He slipped the ring onto her finger, the amber stone catching the light like Luna's eyes in the sunshine. I will spend every day making sure you never regret this. I know, she said, and realized she truly believed it. Their path forward wouldn't be perfect. There were still wounds that needed tending, trust that needed rebuilding, a lifetime of choices to navigate together. But they had Luna, their miraculous, perceptive, pattern-finding daughter, and they had the truth, finally, after so many years of lies. And sometimes, that's all a second chance really needs to become something beautiful. Thank you for watching this story of redemption and second chances. If it touched your heart, please share it with someone who might need to be reminded that even the deepest wounds can heal with time, truth, and forgiveness. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us of the power of human connection.